Artino mute. So in my last video, you may have noticed that I was using a new practice mute. So that's what this video is about. I just got this new practice mute shipped from Spain from a company named W Mutes. And I gotta say, it's the best practice mute that I've tried. So, first of all, it doesn't change the response of the sound nearly as much as the conventional practice mute that I spoke about in the other video. So, the notes that felt extra wolfy with the Artino practice mute, they don't feel as wolfy with this one. It feels more normal, in fact. So, I think for long practice sessions it'll be much less frustrating. And because of that, it's also easier to hear the pitch. It doesn't affect the intonation of the instrument as much. So for double stops and things like that, it's going to be easier. I also think that it does a better job at muting the overall volume. Slightly better, but you'll hear that in a second. And then physically, it's much smaller, right? So it doesn't obstruct the motion of the bow. Also, it clips onto the bridge very securely. So you just clip it on like this, and it has this soft rubber cork material on the inside, so it doesn't damage the bridge nearly as much. I mean, if you were to use the conventional practice mute over a long period of time, I imagine that it would eventually leave some sort of black residue on the bridge. This one, you don't have to worry about that. In terms of physical materials, it's made out of metal. I think it's brass actually, and you have the option of coating it with either gold, silver, or ruthenium. And this is what it looks like. So, as you can see, it has a WM logo on the front, but I believe you can get it customized to have whatever initials or letters that you want engraved on it. So maybe I should have done that, but I was in a bit of a rush to get this. Now, they don't exactly give these away, okay? So this costs 107 euros to be precise. So yeah, much more on the expensive side compared to 20 Australian dollars for the Artino practice mute, but I believe you're paying for premium quality, okay? And if you're gonna need it for practicing in hotels or whatever situation you may find yourself, I think it's great. So I'm going to do a quick sound demo using first this mute, and then the Artino practice mute, and then no mute, so you can really hear for yourself the difference. Now, with the Artino mute. And without a mute. Now let's try another movement. W mute. Now, with the Artino mute. obviously much more resonant and live with no mute, but I can't practice long hours like that. And I don't know about you, but I noticed that with the Artino mute, it was noticeably louder, at least under my ear. Similar sound quality to the W mute, they both sound muted, but the Artino was a bit louder. But I think you can all agree that the verdict is that this is the best practice mute. Oh, and something that I should have mentioned is that it doesn't budge. In the other video I was talking about how with the Artino mute, if I'm playing resonantly with open strings and things like that, sometimes the mute kicks up from the bridge and I have to keep, making sure that it's snug. This one doesn't move at all because it's so securely fastened to the bridge. If you're curious about it, check it out. They have a website, wmutes.com or something like that. Just Google wmutes. And they also have a standard concert mute, which is smaller than this one. As I mentioned, it's a little bit on the expensive side, but perhaps it's worth it, especially during a time like this, where I'm going to have to practice at home for the foreseeable future. I'm really glad that I have this now, and I can get some good solid work done without worrying about bothering my neighbors.